Hello students, welcome to Ashish Polala classes. Today in the present lecture of Indian Constitution, I am going to discuss with you the Indian Council Act of 1861. In the last video, we had made studied about the Great Revolt of 1857. And after the Great Revolt of 1857, the British government felt the necessity of seeking the cooperation of the Indians in the administration of their country. They feel that if they want to survive in India, then they must take the cooperation of the Indians in the administration of their country. So, in pursuance of this policy of association, three acts were enacted by the British Parliament in the year 1861, 1892 and 1909. But today in the present lecture, I am concerned with the act which was enacted by the British Parliament in the year 1861, and that was the Indian Council Act of 1861. This act was an important landmark act in the constitutional and political history of India because this act provided India with the framework of government which lasted up to the present time. So many provisions of Indian constitution at present are very similar to the provisions which had been introduced in the Indian Council Act of 1861. Under this act, Indians were for the first time associated with the work of legislation with the Britishers. This act provided that Viceroy should nominate some Indians, but as non-official members in his expanded council. Accordingly, in the year 1862, Lord Canning, who was the then Viceroy of India and he was also the first Viceroy of India, he had nominated three Indians in his legislative council, who was the Indians who were appointed as non-official member in the expanded council of Viceroy. They were number one, the Raja of Banaras. Second Indian was the Maharaja of Patiala. And third Indian who was nominated in the legislative council was Sir Dinka Rao. Okay. So this act initiated as well the process of decentralization in which they resorted the legislative power to the Bombay and Madras presidencies. Here it is very important to note that under the Charter Act of 1833, the governor of Bombay and Madras had been deprived from their legislative powers. Not only the legislative power were again given to the Bombay and Madras presidencies, it also provided for the establishment of new legislative councils in India. The first new legislative council was established in the year 1862 in Bengal. The second new legislative council was established in northwestern provinces in the year 1886, and the third new legislative council was established in Punjab in the year 1897. Students, it is very important to note that this act empowered the viceroy, that he can issue the ordinances even without the concurrence of the legislative council. But it is also very important to note here that the power to issue ordinance without the concurrence of legislative council can be initiated during an emergency only. What was the life of that ordinance? The life of such an ordinance was of 6 months from the date of passing. In addition to these provisions, the Viceroy of India had been given the power to veto any bill. That means he can issue any bill which was introduced in the Legislative Council. Under this act, the provincial legislatures, which were established under the concept of decentralization, were not empowered to make any laws that might alter the acts of central legislature. That means in this act, the central legislature had been made more powerful in comparison to the provincial legislature. Although under the present bill, the provincial legislature had been established, but the central legislature was more powerful in comparison to the provincial legislature. The first limitation on the provincial legislature was that they cannot make any bill or law which alter the act of central legislature. But what will happen if they enact any law that might alter the act of central legislature? Then at that time, the act of central legislature will prevail over those provisions which might alter the act of central legislature at that time. So this is something about the salient features of the Indian Council Act. Now let us see what were the limitations of this act. सबसे पहले है, it gave unlimited power to the Viceroy of India. It gave the unlimited power to the Viceroy of India. He can issue the ordinance without the concurrence of legislative member. He had the power to veto. He can nominate 3 members who can be the Indians in the Legislative Council. The second limitation of this act was that although the Indians were appointed or nominated in the Legislative Council, but they were appointed as non-official members who had no right in the council. They had been appointed only for the namesake. They could not ask questions. They could not discuss on the budget. So what is the benefit of their appointment? And normally, the non-official member were used to be the native princes or zamindars of India. They were not the men of intelligence and had absolutely no interest in the legislation for India. They were appointed only for the namesake that Indians were also appointed in the Legislative Council. If they have no right in the council, if they could not ask any question, if they could not discuss on the budget, then what is the benefit of their appointment? So this is something about the Indian Council Act of 1861. In the next lecture, we will discuss the next act. Thank you very much.